You can wake up every day and think the world's on fire. And of course, like there's bad things in our world happening every day, but those things are going to happen regardless. And you can control how you wake up every day and just choose good and putting good energy out into the world, because it's a ripple effect. So, it's surrounding yourself with the right people and the right mindset of who you want to be with and how you want to show up every day.
We are Gold Ivy.
Our mission is to empower you to own and unleash your truth.
Stories of resiliency are gold, and ivy grows in hard places.
Those hard places are what creates space for light to shine through.
You decide what works for your daily life and how to transform our lessons into your gold.
This is Ivy Unleashed,
a Gold Ivy production. Who wants to know what I discovered that's an absolute game changer with my hormones, stress level, and quality of my sleep? I am not one to talk about supplements, but after learning all about magnesium, I have to fill you in. In May of last year, I tested my hormones, and my doctor explained to me that most women are deficient in magnesium, how important magnesium is, and how the brand of magnesium matters. First, magnesium is involved in hundreds of biochemical reactions in your body. Cortisol regulation, take magnesium. Better sleep, magnesium. Muscle soreness and recovery, magnesium. Combat depression and anxiety, magnesium. The list of magnesium's benefits go well beyond those examples. I asked for the best brand of magnesium, and my doctor said hands down, Smidge. She prefers Smidge because it's super clean and made in small batches. No fillers or common allergens, and non-GMO. Smidge's magnesium is made with a premium form of magnesium called glycinate complex. After taking the 100 milligram capsule of Smidge Evening Magnesium every night for just a week, I noticed how much better I felt in the morning. Melatonin and other sleep aids can make me groggy or give me weird dreams. Smidge's magnesium has improved my energy levels, reduced my anxiety, and my digestive health has never been better. I do my best to take it every single night to keep reaping all the benefits. I'm telling you, Smidge Magnesium is a game changer. The majority of adult women are deficient in magnesium, and we don't want you to be one of them. To experience the health benefits of Smidge Evening Magnesium as soon as possible, go to getsmidge.com or find the link in the show notes, and be sure to use code GOLDIVY10 for a 10% discount. That's getsmidge.com and code GOLDIVY10 at checkout, and let us know how great Smidge Magnesium makes you feel as well.
Hey everyone, Brooke here. One of my biggest goals for 2025 is to improve my energy, and I know I'm not alone in that. I also know I'm not alone in what I'm about to say next. Every morning when I wake up, the first thing I look forward to is my morning cup of coffee. What I don't look forward to is how much I rely on it to get me through the day and the stomach upset and crashes that come with it. I know it's hard on my hormones, energy, and stress levels, but man, is it a hard habit to break. Can anyone else relate? I want quick and easy, and I want energy. Saying goodbye completely to caffeine is out of the question for me, but trying it in a new way, that I'm open to. So let me tell you about my new obsession, Everyday Dose. Would you believe me if I told you my new morning cup of energy includes the following, and all in one simple scoop? We've got L-theanine, an amino acid that works to increase focus, balance insulin levels, metabolism, and lower stress and cortisol. We've got low acidity coffee extract. Finally, coffee that doesn't give me a stomach ache. Collagen protein to improve my gut health, skin, and nails. Chaga, a type of mushroom that supports immune system. And my favorite, Lion's Mane, a natural nootropic that helps reduce brain fog and boost my mood. In addition to it being the easiest and most effective morning routine, it's free of artificial sweeteners, additives, mycotoxins, and mold. I feel at ease knowing what's going in my body, all while feeling energized, calm, and focused all day. Check out their coffee starter kit. It comes with free gifts every month like a frother, gunmetal spoon, breathwork app, and more. Join Andrew and myself as we start our year and all 365 days with Everyday Dose. Visit everydaydose.com/goldivy and get your coffee starter kit delivered straight to your door. Use our code GOLDIVY to get up to 30% off your first order.
And now to this episode of the Ivy Unleashed podcast.
Welcome back to the Ivy Unleashed podcast, or should I say Bikini Bottom, if you are tuning in.
from
This
YouTube.
is wild. We've never had an artist, like an actual someone that makes something with their hands on the show. We have Ike Wynter in the house. Welcome to Ivy Unleashed.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Tell us about this woodwork.
So it's
This
made
gem.
entirely out of reclaimed wood from the side of the road. And I happen to have it up here this weekend for us to do the podcast. So yeah, it took 120 hours to make it. And then it was signed by the voice of SpongeBob.
That's what we want to talk about today, because what you do is very unique. It's very niched. It's blowing up on social media for so many reasons. And we met Ike at an expo and had no idea that's what you did at all. You were like selling protein shakes or something.
Yeah, that was a total side gig. And I was dressed up in a Sikh outfit and selling protein powder. I'm like, this isn't what I do, but we're just here, yeah.
And then we found out what he does, and we're like, holy heck.
Tell us more.
Yeah.
And so I want you to kind of talk through day to day, week to week, what you do, why, and kind of how you got into this work.
So I definitely came from an entrepreneurial background. So I'm kind of used to just waking up and figuring it out every day and like setting goals and also going with the wind every day. Like you can have a plan until something changes and then you have to go with the new plan. So that's been kind of inherently just like ingrained into my body. My brother and I did start a business when I was 23, and for context, within 18 months of that business, we went from like 2 employees, him and I, to at one point we had over 94 employees.
What? Wow. Doing what?
We had a junk removal company.
Okay.
So cleaning out homes, cleaning out businesses. I was quitting music, which I was in for about 9 years, and he was getting back from a deployment with the military. And we kind of just like quit everything in our lives. Like we were both single at the time. We both didn't have jobs. Like, and we just started this business. And it was kind of always a goal to start that business.
It's always needed.
Yeah. And then, so we started that, and that's really where we got like our entrepreneurial, like, you know, we were finally able to dive into a project together and figure out how we operate as entrepreneurs. So we did that together for 5 years. And then when this started taking shape and during COVID, I was just more like, hey, it's been cool to run a business and to have employees, but just the day-to-day of what you're doing in that is so different from what you started doing. Mm-hmm. Like day one, it was him and I cleaning out houses. And then by 5 years later, you're managing people, managing everything going on. And it was just kind of just a whole different business at that point. And this was kind of taking shape, and I was just ready for like a change of just being more like, I want to say chilled out, but kind of like just working on my own thing. And
so you're a creative person, like in general, music, art, like has that always been your jam?
Kind of. It's like curiosity more so. Like I blend like the way I explain it is curiosity and like engineering in a weird way, because like our business that him and I ran, like it was, I don't know, we would resell a bunch of stuff out of people's houses and whatnot. And it was like always staying curious about what we're going to find next. And with this, it's really just like math problems or engineering in my head. It's like, how do I take all this wood that I found and turn it into a puzzle that blends art and, you know, engineering kind of. So
when did you make your first piece or start doing the woodwork and realize, ooh, this is something?
it kind of blended with when we first started the junk removal company. And that's why it started, was we were cleaning out these homes and we were taking out all the wood. And the wood was the one thing we had to toss, because you can recycle metal, you can donate furniture, you can do all this stuff, but wood you have to throw out. So early on in the business, I just started taking it home and building stuff out of it. And then, so I built my first piece in 2016. I got to find the girl's name who bought it, because somebody has the first piece.
What was it?
It was just, I did like mountain scenes for like probably the first 4 years of just like diving into it. I just like made like 200 or 300 mountain pieces. Yeah. Until, and then like 2021, I started diving into like my own style and, you know, kind of avenue within wood art. Mm-hmm. So
how did you decide not to do any stain or paint? Because you never do either of those, right?
Yeah, I've never done that. It was just from day one, like we were taking out junk out of people's houses, and like the patina on it was just always so cool. Mm-hmm. And also too, we were a very environmentally friendly company. So like the last thing I would ever do and want to do is go to the store to buy art materials to make art. Like I was like, why can't we just make art with what already exists in the world instead of giving into consumerism? That's just big in like my household is like, can you figure it out with something that you already have versus going and buying something?
That's cool.
So for this and your other art, woodwork, do you have the vision in your head already? Or is it, okay, I want to create a SpongeBob piece and let's kind of see where it goes?
This one came out of, I found the frame and I kind of have a list in my phone of like 500 like nostalgic things or mental health awareness pieces or concepts. So SpongeBob was definitely on the list. And then I found the frame. And instead of just like tucking away, because I found it, I was like, either I'm going to tuck this away in my studio and forget about it and probably start this piece like 6 months from now, or I'm going to start it today. So literally I just like cleared off my workbench that day. I don't even know what I was working on. And like just started this piece from scratch the day I found the frame.
Wow.
And then it was 3 weeks later that it was done. Yeah.
I think too, you hinted at it, but what makes everything so different that you do with your social presence and the art that you're making is the mental health piece. You are very encouraging, very positive, very open with your own mental health. And there's always a story behind everything you do. You know, you're showing up at people's doors, surprising them with something that's so thoughtful that means something, right? And so let's talk about that and how, you know, this list of things you want to do, how you weave the mental health piece into what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everything has to have a purpose and a tie to it. And whether it's like a nostalgic, catchy piece of art, that's really to like gain people's attention and viewership. And then if they become like invested into my journey or the art or whatever, like, yes, there is like a deeper meaning to why I do all of it. And in 2022, I was doing the art and I was like kind of taking off and doing some cool stuff. And then it just like, at one point, I just hit rock bottom with my mental health for the first time. It was due to long COVID and kind of going through a traumatic experience. And it was just a big trigger for me. So at one point, I just explained it that I left my art and I turned off my studio lights for what I thought was the last time. Like I physically couldn't be in my studio anymore. It was like the most triggering thing. Like walking in there and turning on the lights was like just the most uneasy feeling I've ever had in my life. So I left in 2022 for 9 months and went to pretty much got out of state, went to LA just to like live there and breathe and figure this out. I went to a mental health clinic down in Miami. It was a 2-week in-person clinic. And there was neurotherapy and EMDR therapy and just like a bunch of stuff. And I mean, the couple down there at Pathwaves, like they just helped me get back to a somewhat regulatory nervous system. When I went there, I was sleeping about an hour and a half a night. And then by like night 3, I was like finally sleeping like 6 or 7 hours again.
Wow.
So, and I was sleeping an hour and a half a night for over a month. Like, yeah. And
how did you decide I have to go to inpatient, I have to go into a clinic, or I have to do something a little bit more extreme?
I just started, I mean, first of all, I was honest with myself when I was going through this experience. I didn't really hold anything back from telling friends or family or people that I trusted what I was truly experiencing. And I knew it was obviously very abnormal for me and the scenario that I went through. The scenario, I went through a breakup, but it wasn't even like that bad or I was like, this shouldn't be that triggering, but like I'm a wreck. Like, you know, I'm trying to grasp onto anything that feels good. So once I knew like how bad it was, I was like, okay, I can't just slide by this and try to take some pills and move on from this. I was like, this is bad. So ended up calling some friends and, you know, telling family. And then I called one friend, honestly, for guidance, like spiritually. He's big in like, and I'm not even really that Christian, but he's, you know, very big in his faith. And I was just looking for some help and some guidance. And his wife is actually the one, totally unexpected. He literally handed the phone over to her. And she's like the most bright, bubbly person in the world, and never knew that she would have gone through something. And she went to this clinic like 3 times herself.
Wow.
And she was very honest with me about her journey. So she's like, hey, take it for what it is, but I can refer you to this clinic down in Miami. It is, you know, next level and pretty intense, but like that's what you're kind of telling me. And so I got on the phone with them and I was like, I'm just looking for a solution. I didn't know anything about this or which way to go about it. And they were just honest with me, and yeah, we figured it out together.
Wow. So what was that transition like from the inpatient, the 2 weeks, to coming back home?
So I still wanted to give myself time before coming back home to do art. So I did the inpatient in October of 22, and then literally I just moved back to California. And that's when Timmy and I were just really close working together on the Dream Machine. So I was working for a nonprofit with Timmy, and I just stayed out there pretty much as long as I could. I was like, I don't feel ready to go back home yet. And like doing nonprofit work, it's like it's not going to work every day. Like you get to ease into like having a schedule and having a job and having purpose, but not like deadlines and, you know, a heavy workload. Like it's still obviously very lighthearted. So I did that until April. So it was about 6 months straight of doing that and, you know, giving back every day. And then it kind of came to a point where the nonprofit was just like letting people go, and we had to kind of find our own journey. And I honestly didn't know. I just bought a flight back home, and I was like, I hope I can walk back into my studio and figure this out.
Oh, there's so many pieces to this puzzle that make it so that you're okay, right? Being vulnerable and saying the truth about how low you're feeling. You know, there's it's a lot higher suicide rate for men because they don't do this, right? They're not vulnerable. And then you went and you hung out with a friend, Timmy, it's been on the podcast, that you can talk to, right? That can dance with you and be silly with you, but also talk about serious things. And then I just keep thinking about courage, like the courage to go back home when you're not sure if you're ready, or get on the phone with a woman that you don't know super well, you know, and talk about it. And so can you just like talk about that courage, like that piece where it might feel hard to reach out or talk about the truth about where you're at and just how you kind of get over that hurdle?
I mean, it's really like, do you want to keep living in this pain every day? And being honest with yourself? It's like you're gifted one life, and every day that you get to wake up is a super huge blessing. And then people lose sight of that for sure. Like I keep track on my phone how many days I've been alive. I'm at like 11,620.
That's amazing.
Like I check it weekly almost. So I keep track of like, okay, this is how many days I've been alive. And, you know, today's date, we will never have the chance to live again. And, you know, you have to like, I take that very seriously in a very like optimistic and lighthearted way. Like, hey, we're alive today. People are always thinking about the future and, oh, I'm going on this trip and, you know, but it's like, no, today is here and it's all you're guaranteed. And if you're unhappy with your day-to-day, day after day, whether it's your personal mental health, your personal career, your marriage or whatever, like I'm not saying just like cut ties and move on to the next thing, but like you should work on it and be eager to work on it to make it the best it can be. Otherwise, you're going to keep living in the same pain every day.
Yeah.
Keeping the flu and common cold out of your household is important whether you're 5, 35, or 95. And we're going to tell you the easiest and most delicious way to do just that. It's with All Things Elderberry, a woman-owned business that has all-natural, vegan-friendly, and gluten-free elderberry products.
And when we say products, we mean a variety of delicious and beautiful products, not just for you, but for your entire household to get an immunity boost. If we had to pick our favorite product, I'm going with organic elderberry gummies. My kids are obsessed. We're trying to avoid sickness from school and make sure they can participate in their sports. So they take one every morning before they brush their teeth. They think the gummies taste like a mix of grape and cotton candy. I tried them too, and I can see why they ask for them every day. I love that they're boosting their immune system at the start of their day.
My favorite All Things Elderberry product is the elderberry green tea paired with the elderberry honey. The green tea gives me a midday boost, and the honey gives the tea extra sweetness. I also put the honey in my morning coffee instead of creamer. So good. All Things Elderberry is my solution for staying healthy before traveling, avoiding frequent colds and sinus infections, really just maintaining my health all year round.
What sets this brand apart from the others is there are no artificial additives in All Things Elderberry. Their elixir is made with organic, Missouri-grown elderberries, raw honey, and whole spices.
Elderberries not only help with immune support, but may also slow the aging process with their powerful antioxidants, improve skin health, and can shorten the duration of severity of colds and flu.
Visit allthingselderberry.com to explore their full range of immune-supporting products. Stay healthy and feel your best naturally. Use our code GOLDIVY at checkout for 15% off your first order. That's code GOLDIVY at checkout for 15% off your first order. The number one mistake people make when aiming to get healthier is counting calories in general. If you're trying to lose weight, boost your metabolism, gain energy, improve your hair, skin, and nails, and boost your confidence, protein is key. And if you've been listening for a while, you know I, Andrea, have been working on balancing my hormones and eating better. And by eating better, I mean planning out my meals and actually paying attention to protein. I'm finally doing it. And because I feel the best I've ever felt, I created for you what I wish I had so you can replicate my practices in your daily life. Now, in our Gold Ivy shop, you can grab the Maximize Your Metabolism with Gold Ivy guide for $10. Included in your Maximize Your Metabolism with Gold Ivy guide are weekly workout guidelines and a workout plan. So you'll gain muscle that will burn more calories. There's a daily protein requirement calculation, so you actually know how many grams to aim for, and an ideal day of protein-packed meals. There's a protein powerhouse grocery list with the grams of each item listed, so shopping is way easier for you. There's tangible stress management tips because we all need those, and there's linked protein-packed recipes that you have to try. I put together this guide that's full of tips, tracking, and ideas so that you don't have to. We can't avoid or ignore the fact that protein is going to help us feel our best, improve our body composition, and help balance out our hormones any longer. Grab the Maximize Your Metabolism with Gold Ivy guide as soon as you have a moment at goldivyhealthco.com/shop, and finally have access to the tools that will boost that metabolism.
What helps you today with your mental health?
So I am on antidepressants daily. It's definitely helped me like get, more regulated and back to square one. And honestly, now the past like 2 months, it's kind of like I have to refigure out the formula. And, the bulk of the beginning of this year was amazing. And I kind of can keep tabs on it, but it's tough too, because like if you have exciting things going on in your life, obviously you're going to wake up more eager and excited, but like, are you truly happy behind the scenes, So the past like 2 months, like it's not like I'm waking up unhappy every day, but it's like figuring out the motivation and figuring out the, putting the pep in your step and stuff. So I don't know. I'm leaning a lot right now into just basic things, like literally trying to get to move. I want to move my body before I do anything else every morning. Going for running, like I forget how much of a runner's high I get, and I love it. So I got to really just like hone in on that the next few months here and stick to that, and honestly set a goal for next year to just like sign up for something to stay on track for something. And then also too, like just the people you have in your life, the boundaries, the day-to-day conversations you're having, like that either adds to your plate or takes stuff away. So being conscious of that is just huge.
Yeah. Cause
go ahead.
I was gonna say, cause you go in a studio all night.
Yeah.
And then you're sleeping when most people are awake.
Yeah.
So what is that like?
Having a dance party by yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it easily can turn into a very lonely life for sure. I'm in a studio 14 hours a day by myself, and I can be there for weeks on end without really seeing like sunlight, the way I put it, of like people and life outside of that. So I do like at least once a week, as much as I am like ingrained in my art and I like working a lot, and I think I could be there 7 days a week. Like by the time I get there, by the 9th or 10th day in a row, I'm just like burnt out. So like at least once a week, I kind of just don't go there, just have a whole social day or going and seeing people or whatever. And then also too, like people know I'm a big FaceTimer. Like I'll just like FaceTime my friends while I'm building, or just like, check in with my friends because they're all over the country. And, but honestly, their energy is like what is so inspiring day to day and kind of keeps me accountable in my life. And also too, I'm very big on just like, having the people in your life that make sense rather than just friendships that you've had like for a length of time just to have them, like having the right energy in your day to day. And the people I talk to now are like have been very involved in the past year and a half of my life. But, there's some conversations where if I jump on the phone, I'm like, oh, like my mind kind of takes me back to 2 or 3 years ago with you. And that's not necessarily the healthiest for me, because 2 or 3 years ago is when I kind of went through everything or was a different person. And when you talk to those people and kind of bring up those same conversations, it's like re-triggering personally for someone like me. And like, so I kind of avoid, having those conversations daily or, ingrained in my normal day-to-day life. I kind of like having people that like have been with me on the journey the past few months here. So
yeah, I mean, in the past few months, you've absolutely blown up. Like you are, the amount of views on your social media, I want to talk about because it does something to your brain, right? Like it feels good to have, how many million views does this have on TikTok?
Like 17 or 18 million, yeah.
Yeah, so 18 million people looking at your art, like something that you've poured your heart and soul into. It has to feel so good. The fact that you're meeting the person that's the voice of SpongeBob, like you're on the NHL page, like as a post, standing there with the Stanley Cup that you made. Like it is unreal what's happening. But I'm curious how that plays into like who's coming into your life now and those conversations and trying to not have to have this validation when you've hit such a peak.
I think the best thing is I kind of keep everything right here. And I always have my whole life. Like if I'm struggling and going through a lot, I still am like grateful and optimistic every day. And even during millions of views or the NHL stuff, like it's cool and I'm grateful for it for sure. But like I don't get so in my head about it or think that my life is changing but like honestly in a good way. Like my roommate specifically called me about the NHL stuff because he's a big hockey fan.
That was awesome.
And he was just like, oh, I got to hear. He's like, what happened the past 24 hours? I'm like, nothing. I just still woke up today and like went to my studio and like, it's about creating those special moments. And I definitely appreciate them and have context to them, but I don't get over like zealous about them kind of because I know what the lowest of lows feels like too. And if you keep everything like right here and just stay optimistic and grateful for all of it, it's like the most beautiful thing. So do I have context to the amount of views and stuff? Like, yes, I use it as data in my head, but I don't get caught up in it. I say, how many people did this positively impact? How many people started following my journey because of that? Like getting millions of views but if nobody follows your journey thereafter, especially as an artist, like it kind of only holds so much weight.
Yeah.
If you have a video that like, I've had a handful of videos where I have opened up my mental health the past like 3 months and like those have way less views. But literally I looked at like, okay, a lot of people started following my journey thereafter. And the one video has like 18,000 saves. And in my head, I'm like, hey, this is a 90-second video of me offering some inspiration and some vulnerability into my story. 18,000 people have saved this for a rainy day.
Yeah.
And that is like the most impactful thing ever. Like that's the number that you should care about.
I feel like there's so many reasons too. Like there's the mental health component. It's you're a human behind doing this. Like you see your dance parties, but you see when you're low and you're connecting with big brands. I mean, your Crayola piece is so cool. Like legit looks identical to the box of crayons. And then they're reaching out to you because they feel it. They see the hours you put into it. I feel like it has to be so validating to, the intricacies in your work, the thought behind it, like to have someone see it and know like, wow, you saw our brand. We want you. Or the stock exchange having you there and you have art that's there for a full year, right?
Yeah. So that piece is there for a full year. And I mean, it's honestly, I treat life and entrepreneurship literally like a video game. It's like, what can you do? Like, and I put myself in the context of like, okay, I'm just a wood artist kid from Milwaukee. And that's like how I'll always think about it because I don't know, when you just have that like white belt mentality that you don't have anything figured out and everything in the world is possible. Like you just tell yourself, hey, I want to do this. And like, hey, can I build a giant Crayola box and get their attention? And like setting the goal to do that and figuring it out is just like part of also building the art. And whether these bigger brands reach out or not, like that's just kind of like a next step of it. It's like, can I be creative enough to make the art, make the social content, and like put all these pieces together to like, have the right person see it. And then, I don't know, it's just a game every day.
Yeah.
Like,
what helps you stay in that creativeness, get in the flow state?
I mean, you just wake up every day and like, what else am I going to pursue?
Okay.
Like, I don't know, like when the Stanley Cup offer came across my table, it was like, it didn't really make sense financially to do the piece. But I was like, when else am I as an artist going to be in the same room as a Stanley Cup and have a replica of it and like, be able to take a photo of my art that replicates this iconic trophy.
So how did that happen? Like I'm picturing, okay, brands find you and they DM you, or what does this look like?
Completely opposite. So I usually build the art and then have the brands reach out. The Brewers this year were an exception. We kind of collabed behind the scenes to discuss making a piece for a player. So I did that with the Brewers, and then right after that, a former member of the Chicago Blackhawks, reached out, and the email literally said Stanley Cup winner, Chicago Blackhawks, and he was like very straightforward, and he pretty much said, "My name is Brent. I run a nonprofit, and we have a golf outing this year. We have a Stanley Cup dinner." He's just like, "My whole thing is bringing awareness to my nonprofit, and you understand social media. You're an artist locally here. Can we just get on a call and see what opportunities there are?" So he kind of told me about the golf outing. He told me about the Stanley Cup dinner, and he's like, "Can you do something or promote what I'm doing or build a piece of art to bring value to what I'm doing?" And he told me about his nonprofit, and I didn't know it's a nonprofit for dyslexia. I didn't know the statistics or the effects that it has in day-to-day society, and I was like really touched by it and moved by it. So I mean, that whole component of it, on top of like the opportunity to see the cup in person, I was like, "Hey, I can build this piece. Like, I'll give you a big discount to have this opportunity because there's a cool exchange between us. Like, I get to see the cup in person."
Yeah.
And yeah, so we just did that, and the night of selling the piece was amazing. The people that he was surrounded by was just super awesome, and then the NHL wasn't like associated with the event at all. Like, aside from the cup being there, like the NHL doesn't promote the event or anything. They just happened to see it. I literally tagged them on the post on Instagram, and they reached out.
Wow.
And then they posted it themselves, right?
Yeah, they just said, "Hey, can you send these photos in so we can have rights to post it?" So on the post, I just tagged the Stanley Cup page and the NHL page, and they saw it.
Wow. That's the power of social media. I'm curious what you would tell someone, a young artist, someone who, whether it's painting, woodwork, or just tapping into a new creative outlet, what advice would you give them?
I mean, if you dive into it for the pure passion and curiosity, that's the best place to start. That's with podcasting, that's with art, that's with sports. Like, you have to have the true desire to do it, regardless if anyone's watching it or buying it. Like, I started cutting wood because I was like, I love the senses of cutting wood. I love the smell, the sound, like everything about it. And also the intricacy of like making puzzle pieces fit together. Like, I was a kid that grew up doing puzzles, and like that's so therapeutic for me. Like, two things fitting together is just like gold. So at the end of the day, like, I know I can always resort to this regardless if anyone's watching or not. So having the passion behind it and just starting with that, and then honestly just staying very curious and grateful about the whole journey. Like, I don't think I'm anything yet, and like, I don't want to ever think I'm anything yet. I just want to keep pursuing it every day, and like, what else can we do with it? Very delusionally.
I keep thinking too, it's like the calm in the storm, right? No matter what's happening around you, you're staying calm. I mean, you're centered in the love for what you do. That way, if you're getting the millions of views, sweet. But if you're not, you still love what you're doing. I remember hearing Kobe Bryant talking about this. It's like what is the most foundational thing about being the best at something? It's like the love for the thing you're doing. Like, it's not rocket science. It's not hard to work hard at something if you love what you're doing.
And I think
come back to it.
I think people truly lose sight or don't have context to the Kobe Bryants of the world, or the A-list celebrities, if you will. Like, actors, like, at the end of the day, they still have to show up and act and be very good at their craft every day. Like, Kobe Bryant or any basketball player, like, yeah, they have the fame and notoriety and get to do these cool things, but like, they also have to go through the grit and the pain, 9 months out of the year to be the best athlete they can be day after day. And people don't like contextualize that. Like, they have to work out. Like, it's it's no different than you guys showing up for yourselves every day and working out. Like, it's that consistency that takes you to the next. And those are all the undocumented hours that people don't see.
Yeah.
Like, they see the NHL posting or SpongeBob seeing this piece, but they don't see, just the 14 hours a day, every day at my studio trying to figure it out. And when I say figuring it out, it's building the art, coming up with the social content. It's just everything involved in it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because it is the discipline of I still have to do the thing.
Yeah, you have to show up and do it every day. And like, yeah, SpongeBob signs a piece. It's not like I take 2 weeks off and just chill and like sit on social media type thing. It's like, no, you have to, keep it going for the next thing. And in order to do that next thing, you can't be chasing the views or the notoriety. You can't have that be your motivator. You have to be internally motivated by the craft and why you're pursuing it.
I feel bad for people listening that don't have the thing that they love to do though, because I feel like it's really exciting when you know what you love to do. Like I love podcasting. I love it so much. But then from there, your mind can get creative about how to use it to better the world, right? And who to collaborate with and how all that comes together. And so I'm curious what you would say to someone that really is like, I don't know what my thing is. Like I have no clue how to lose track of time or how to get in that flow state. Like what would you say to someone that hasn't quite found what they love?
What's your favorite food?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Spaghetti.
What's your favorite food?
Chips and salsa.
Okay. When did you first have spaghetti, you think?
When I was really little.
Really little? Mm-hmm. Okay. So if somebody came in here and said, my favorite food is oysters or something, a little bit more extravagant, and it's like, oh, how did you discover that? It's like, oh, I tried it last week. But before that, my favorite food was pizza. But then they tried oysters or a steak or whatever. Like they tried something new. Like your favorite food was pizza until you tried something new, but you're not going to eat pizza all day, every day, because that might not be your thing, Mm-hmm. So it's all about like, identifying things about yourself. Like I knew I loved growing up and doing puzzles. I don't know what that's going to lead me to. Mm-hmm. But like when you start cutting wood and putting these pieces together, you're like, oh my God, I was that kid doing puzzles. Obviously as a kid, I grew up loving it. And now this ties in with it. And I truly just love, all the senses of cutting wood. So I think it's just about trying new things every day, surrounding yourself with different people that bring different opportunities into your life. And just, but also not holding yourself, don't hold a lot of pressure or weight to, I have to figure out, what I'm good at and what I really love doing. It's kind of like dating. It's like, you can't be like, oh, I want to marry somebody. It's like, no, you have to find somebody you connect with first. Like you can't have the end goal in mind.
Right.
You can't have, oh, I'm passionate about something as the end goal. You have to just start, very open-minded and just try a bunch of things and learn from yourself and being self-aware. Be like, hey, I might really like, sports or this or that, but like, I'm really not that talented or naturally gifted at it. So like I always go back to like kid or childhood reference, because a lot of the things you grew up doing are your hobbies, and like those can equate to what you're good at later in life, mm-hmm. and sometimes it's literally just conversations. Like podcasters are great conversationalists, it doesn't always have to be a hands-on hobby, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. So many things, but it takes being curious and being open. Yeah. What you're saying.
And not beating yourself up it's like beating yourself up, you haven't found the right person yet. Like,
putting the pressure on it.
It's almost like knowing yourself more, and you're an evolving person. So like you said, it could be something new that you don't even know, mm-hmm. or it could be going back to your childhood. Like, what did I like to do? I've kind of lost myself. I've got my kids and I'm doing all of their stuff now. And it's like, what did I remember across the street, my buddy Dale, when he was diagnosed with cancer, a lot of his work was remembering what he used to love to do, mm-hmm. so he could weave it into his time he had left. And he did that. And he was like, it sounds weird, but I'm playing with cars. He's like, sounds weird.
Adults lose sight of that. Yes. You get so busy with life and mm-hmm. bills and kids and houses. And yes, those are all steps of life. But at the end of the day, you can't lose sight of like who you inherently are. Mm-hmm. And if you're self-aware or dive into a little bit about who you are at the root, like that's super important.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when we met you, we had delusional energy, we called it. We were at an expo and we didn't know how to like capture people's attention besides having some music on. And so we were like trying to figure out one-liners. And I feel like that's maybe what drew you to coming to our booth because we called it delusional energy. And you were like, I am all about the delusional energy. And you talk about being delusionally optimistic, which you've touched on like the gratitude piece of it. But I want to talk about that, just like how someone can tap into this, and like what your advice is for someone that's kind of a pessimist maybe, or they don't know the benefits of what this could bring them.
I mean, at the end of the day, the energy you put out and how you show up to the world is going to attract, what energy you're bringing. So the reason that we would have crossed paths and met that day is because, there's thousands and thousands of people in this in this convention and a bunch of people having booths and stuff. But like when you see somebody else like showing up that day and bringing that energy, like it hits, especially when you're with a group of people that are also bringing that. So, it's kind of just a testament that we came into each other's lives and we really bring the same energy to life every day, regardless of what we're doing. Like you guys are in podcasts and, health and wellness, and I'm in art and apparently
but it works.
Protein powder that weekend. So it's like, whatever you show up to every day. And it's like, I don't know, if you're continually in a pessimistic or narcissistic mindset, it's literally just like, if that's the life you want to lead, like more power to you, but you're actively choosing that every day. And, it just all comes back to gratitude and optimism. And you can wake up every day and think the world's on fire. And of course, like there's bad things in our world happening every day, but those things are going to happen regardless. And you can control how you wake up every day and just choose good and putting good energy out into the world, because it's a ripple effect. So, it's surrounding yourself with the right people and the right mindset of who you want to be with and how you want to show up every day.
So when you are feeling low, right, you have these mental health dips, what do you say to yourself to bring you back to that delusional optimism?
It always starts with gratitude. Like, no matter how low you can get, you still got to wake up today. And I know it's a very simple thing today, and it's such a simple concept, but it's real. And then obviously having the right people in your life, having the right friends. But at the end of the day, it's just like you still, even at your lowest, you've made it through those days before, and you can do it again. And also too, you got to wake up today, and it's a 400 trillion to 1 odds that you're alive today. And when you put that number in your head and think about it, it hits you differently.
Yeah. You talk about goals a lot, and the pursuit of achieving a goal, right, gives us dopamine, gives us some feel-good energy. What is a goal that you're currently after? What's the next goal for you?
There are certain collabs I definitely want to do within my art.
Do you ever talk about them ahead of time?
I speak them into existence.
I was gonna say, can we put it in the universe right
now?
Yeah. There's kind of 4 major ones, I guess.
Okay.
There's 2 people I want to build art for. And whether it happens 3 months from now or 2 years from now, I'm very patient about it, because I call them moonshots, but they're very contextualized. They're things that will happen, but we just need some time, Building a piece for Tony Hawk is a big dream of mine.
Oh, that's cool.
His video games were just the most nostalgic thing in my childhood by far. And just the fact they brought that skate culture to modern society is just sick. And then doing a piece for Green Day, which is kind of what I grew up on very heavily. I had 2 older brothers, and that was kind of what I was just, forced to listen to at 4 or 5 years old. And just it's just been my entire life. And again, the pop culture relativity to it, they're such a legendary band and group of dudes. And I grew up watching their music videos on repeat. So just their presence has just been super cool, especially as an artist to an artist. The way they go about, they went against the grain consistently, always, and it's worked out for them.
Yeah.
It's just super inspiring. So those are the 2. And then the 2 other dreams are more of media connections. I really want to get a story on Good Morning America.
Oh,
eventually.
That's for sure going to happen.
Yeah. So
they're all going to happen, but I can see that happening very soon.
Yeah. So doing a story on Good Morning America, and then honestly, I really, really want to be on the Kelly Clarkson show.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
That
Why
would
Kelly?
be cool.
I grew up really loving Oprah, Ellen, all those daytime shows that just make you cry, and I'm just an emotional dude, and I was like, God, this is good.
Kelly would eat this shit up.
Yeah, and
can see it.
Kelly
Yes.
is between I literally saw her win the first American Idol.
Yeah.
I've grown up loving her music. That's a lot of what I sing in the studio. Like, I just love female pop artists from that era.
You love Since You've Been Gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. yeah. Kelly. Yeah. So like her music career and now how she shows up daily, bringing, just cool stories and her energy. I was on this show like in the audience, and my friend actually got to like go to commercial. So there's a shot of like Kelly's logo with my face, and then my friend with the microphone, like bring it to commercial. And the day I was on that, I was like, all right, I want to be on that stage.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 like moonshots. And again, I'm not like, oh, this has to happen in the next 2 months. Like, they're bigger goals for sure. So I have context too. It's going to take time.
I love the idea of moonshot. And I'm just knowing what you want.
Yeah.
Not knowing the how, but this is what I want. And I'm trusting that I want it for a reason and the universe will deliver. And the puzzle pieces, the wood pieces will connect as they're supposed to.
Yeah.
How exciting to follow along with this too.
So where can everyone find you to see this come into play?
Instagram and TikTok is just like easiest. I don't know.
Handle
Ike
being-
_Winter with
With a Y.
With a Y. WYNTER.
It's my middle name. Not many people know that.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not my
that's
last
a
name.
cool middle name.
Yeah,
It's your stage name?
it's my stage name.
His artist name?
My siblings brought it up because when we did the Brewers first pitch, they printed Winter on the back of it was the first time my siblings were like, you couldn't put your real last name on it to like the family legacy type thing. I'm like that's just my artist stage name thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, that is cool.
I like it. It's easy to remember too. All right, Ike. Well, we always finish our episodes with 3 segments. The first one is your 3 gold stars. So these are 3 takeaways anybody could take from what we shared today or anything just top of mind.
Look up how many days you've been on Earth today. That's step 1. Find ways to practice gratitude and optimism and perspective into your life. And I'm not big on doing them more regimented. I'm not big on like waking up every day and writing down 10 gratitude things. I know that does work for a lot of people, but like honestly, I just have moments of perspective, especially when you hear of like the unfortunate sides of life of like people passing away or tragic, like, oh, this, like yesterday is, we're helping out a family and the guy passed away at like 31 years old, like randomly on the way to work. And it's like those moments actually will fuel me for the next month. Like I'll remember that story and that person. And I've had people close to me that passed away early. And I just kind of bring in beautiful reminders into my life every single day. Kind of like, hey, they're not here anymore. And I'm older than them or the same age as them. Whatever that looks like that's my motivator every day. It's like if I woke up today and the one I always go back to is a kid named Tommy, and he was kind of like a younger brother than me, and he passed away like 2 years ago. And I was like, would Tommy want me sitting around today or not pursuing the best version of myself? Like he's not here today, and the energy that he brings was just beautiful. And like I miss him, and I want to pursue life today in the best way possible because I can, and unfortunately he can't. So it's like whatever your reminder is every day to be grateful and optimistic and have perspective is huge.
I love that.
So that's my 2 points. I'm going to skip the third.
I love
Okay.
it.
2 is strong enough, baby. I like it. Okay, next segment is Unleashing Ivy. So surprise, rapid fire questions. Do you have your question ready?
I'm going back and forth between 2 things.
Let's do both of them.
Okay, I need to fix my.
Hello.
Okay, hello. You got me there with Tommy. Whew.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, Unleashing Ivy. First question. Let's just go for it here. Okay, so I want to talk about your male relationships. Obviously, Tommy was important to you, and Timmy, who we know really well, is important to you. And I want to talk about that bromance. Like, what keeps a deep male friendship where you can really talk about struggles or things that might be like typically tough for guys to talk about? Like, how do you keep such a strong, vulnerable relationship with other men?
Being the first one to say it. It's kind of like, how do you approach a girl at the bar that you want to have, like, she's not going to come up to you, you're not going to come up to her. Like, you got to have to make that first step. And either she's going to invite that energy in or reject it. And I feel like guy energy is the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you're hanging out with somebody and, you know, you want to talk about something or have that relationship with them, like take the first step. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uneasy. But I would say 9 times out of 10, it's going to be well received and respected and welcomed. And it's going to allow them to reciprocate back. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't, especially in Tim and I's relationship, he brought the energy first and opened up to me first. Like, that's why we were so like, attracted to each other as friends. Like, we knew day one we were going to be homies. Like, literally within 10 minutes of meeting, I was like, oh, this is a problem. Like, it's the stepbrothers. Hey, did we just become best friends? Like, that was the moment. We talk about that moment, often. So it's just about taking the first step and initiating that. And you'll realize when you hit your highest of highs or lowest of lows, like, especially when you're succeeding, are your friends cheering you on, or are they jealous of it and trying to tap into, and are you cheering them on? Like, when Timmy has huge wins, like, that's all we celebrate that day. So, just taking the first step.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think that's the power of energy too, of like, you just know, you don't question it.
Yeah.
You and Timmy becoming friends, us meeting you, us meeting Timmy. It's just like good energy that you just want more of.
1,000%.
Yeah.
If you're craving something in the world, like, give it to the world and it'll get back.
Yeah.
So
I love
That's good advice.
Okay. My question is around these incredible moments you've had. Meeting SpongeBob, Mike Tyson, throwing out the Brewers' first pitch. What is a moment you've had recently that you're like, damn, I'm so proud of?
that's a good question.
Thanks.
You really got me on that one. I will say the NHL post hit me a few days later, pretty heavy. It happened, and I was like, okay, like, figure out the logical things. Okay, post it, reshare it, have friends, and then 4 days later, I'm like, whoa, like, and I go back to like, how did I start I picked up a pallet on the side of the road 7 years ago. I cut it into a coffee table, and now the NHL is posting about my work. Like, it wasn't about them necessarily posting on social media. It was just like, how does someone like me reach the NHL at this point? It was just kind of mind blowing. And that's just, I guess, the latest one that hit. But I think the end of this year, as I recap things, both personally and, putting out to the world, like, I think it will remind myself of, a lot of crazy stuff that happened. I don't know. It's a blur for sure.
Well, especially because you were going to stop.
Yeah.
And so if something in you was like, go back. So do you feel like this height you're reaching is the universe, God, whatever you believe in, saying like, keep going? Like,
in a
trust.
sense, yeah. I'm more internally just grateful and driven rather than outside, forces. Like, I know if I put out good in the world, it'll come back for whatever reason, like, that's just life.
Yep.
I think I just tell it to myself, like, I shouldn't be doing this still day to day. And the fact that I am is incredible. So why not pursue the craziest goals with it every single day? Because
why not get on Kelly Clarkson?
Exactly.
That's right.
Like, I lost it once, I can easily lose it again. And having that mindset, like, that's the people that you look up to in the world have that mindset every single day. Like, I'm here today, but I only have today guaranteed, so I need to put forth my best effort. So they're going to show up as the best version of themselves every day, and just push through, because there's going to be moments when it's easy to cut wood and pursue it, and there's moments where it's just like, I don't want to do this today, and you still have to show up for yourself every day. So yeah.
All right, last question. You could go back and tell younger little Ike something, or older, I guess, whatever age.
Yeah.
What age would you pick to go back to, and what would you tell yourself?
It's a good question. I would say 14-year-old Ike. That's the first one that came to mind. It was the first time I went to a concert and saw what I wanted to be on stage. I saw a band playing and saw the guitarist specifically. His name was Jason. And I was like, that's what I want to do, right at 14. And that's when my band was taking shape and starting. And I was like, that's what I want to do, no matter what. And, I held on to that dream for 9 years. And when I left it, for 9 years straight, I was like, I'm never going to leave music. I want to do this there's nothing else in the world I would want to do. And then at 9 years, it felt so natural to leave it. So I think at 14-year-old Ike, it's telling him like, hey, this is going to be a dream, but life is also just going to take its course, and like, you're going to be okay. Because even now, like, who knows if I'll be cutting wood 3 years from now? And that's a very honest topic, you know?
Yeah. I'm excited to watch that, just to see, creative minds like yours. And I'm so intrigued by artists because I feel like there's always a depth to you, and you change directions. I just see this with people in music a lot, where it's not that like they're writers, right? Or they, whatever it is. But I think, and why Brooke and I were drawn to you, like we've talked about it, is your energy. Like we were captivated by you. We couldn't stop talking to you. And I think that's what the world is catching on with now. It's that energy. It's that light. Like you cannot, like you're attracted to it because it's so bright. You just cannot ignore it. And so I just want to encourage you, and know that we're here to encourage you at any time to keep being that light in whatever it is, because obviously whatever you touch, it's turning to gold, and it's going really well. And people are finally seeing it, where like, who even knows? I mean, Kelly Clarkson, shout out Kelly. But just thankful that you're pursuing that, right, wholeheartedly, and then having the spin on the mental health piece so people feel cared for following along with your work.
Yeah. And you guys just the same. I mean, your goal of doing a marathon in all 50 states is like, as much as there's days when you're like, why am I doing this? People aren't seeing this, whatever. Like, I keep context to that.
Yeah.
And I'm just one person in your life that lives a state away,
Yeah.
So the goals and the energy you put out to the world really does resonate with people more than you think. So don't lose sight of that. And it's just, I don't know, like, I just tell people, just wake up every day and just pursue the best version, because not everyone gets that chance.
Yeah.
And it's going to look different each day.
1,000%.
Yeah. Well, Ike, such a pleasure. We're so grateful for you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you for making the trip, for being here in person, for sharing your beautiful work with us.
We got this.
Gorgeous.
You might not be able to take it home.
See if Squidward's
Sorry to
home.
the woman who bought it. Oh, is Squidward under there?
Oh.
I got to put a little picture of him underneath there. Yeah. Yeah.
This is
Amazing.
beautiful. Can't wait to see what you bring us next time. Our next backdrop, because there will definitely be a next time. And we leave our listeners with a piece of gold. Send them off with a quote. Can be yours, can be a favorite quote of yours. What would you like to leave our listeners with?
I'm going to send it off with a quote from Gary Vee. It's 3 words of perspective in life. It's, you're going to die.
This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold. We want to thank you and encourage you to celebrate yourself for taking the time to learn and get inspired in your one beautiful life. And if this podcast means something to you, it would mean so much to us if you'd be willing to take 30 seconds to help support our mission to keep bringing you inspiring stories and guests.
First, following the podcast is important because it helps you never miss an episode. To do this, just go to the Ivy Unleashed podcast show page on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and then just tap the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner or click on follow.
While you're there, if you'd be so kind to give us a 5-star rating and review and share your favorite episode with a friend, we'd be so grateful for your support.
We are thrilled you're here and are so happy that you're taking time to prioritize your wellness, self-discovery, and growth with us.